Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Anti-Pharmacist podcast. Who missed me? Well, it's been a minute, right? Or more like a week. But like I said in the last episode before I took that 1 week break, healthcare providers are not superhumans, and I had to take that much needed break for my own sanity. But now I am back re-energized, and on today's episode, I'll be discussing a pertinent topic as usual. You see, when you go to your pharmacy to see your pharmacist and you're handed over these medications, they tell you, take this one with food, take that one without food or before food, and you're wondering, what difference does this make? Do I have to follow this? I'll just take it whenever I like. No, there are reasons for this, and that's what I'll be discussing today. And that is why this topic is with or without food. There are reasons behind this, scientific reasons, practical reasons. So I'll be explaining these reasons first, and then I'll be giving you examples of common medications that you should either take with food and those medications that you should take without food. Then I'll be demystifying what we even mean by with food, without food, because you could be eating right now and be taking your medication, or just a little bit after eating, like a few minutes you could. So we'll just look at all this, alright? So let's get right into it. Alright, so why should you take certain medications with food, you may wonder. You see, there are several reasons why you should take medications with food, as well as there are several reasons why you shouldn't take medications with food. And now differentiating between which to take with food and which not to take with food is the job of your healthcare professional. So your only duty is to, 1, ask them whenever you're getting your medication, oh fam, okay, should I take this with food or without food? Although they should even tell you this while handing the medication to you. And another thing, the next duty of yours is to just follow the instructions as stated. If there's anything you don't understand, ask them, and I'm sure that they're ready to let you know. Alright, they're ready to enlighten you. So number one reason why it's advised that you should take some medications with food is prevention of side effects. Most medications, especially oral, come with side effect of nausea, of diarrhea, of stomach upset. So medications that would amplify this side effect or that would show the side effect are better taken with food, so that the food will at least caution those effects. The contact of those medications with the stomach lining will be reduced. Another stomach effect is hyperacidity. Alright, you know, some medications, when they have contact with the stomach lining, they cause release of more acid, or even by the action of the medication itself. And having food in the stomach while taking these medications helps to caution the effects of that hyperacidity. Do you get? So that the food will reduce the corrosiveness of the acid, let me put it that way. So that's why you should take some medications with food. Another reason is to help improve absorption. Some medications just work better when they're taken with food, because that food helps to improve the absorption into the bloodstream, especially fatty foods in most instances. Another is to prevent low blood sugar. This is especially with anti-diabetics. When you take them, they tend to reduce your blood sugar suddenly. But when you have food in your stomach, at least that will caution it and will prevent that hypoglycemia. So these are the major reasons why you should take some medications with food. And examples of such medications are corticosteroids. They help to lower inflammation in the body. Example is prednisolone, dexamethasone, hydrocortisone. See, and the major side effects of these medications are stomach upset, hyperacidity. Do you get? So, like I explained earlier, it is better you take them after you have eaten. Let there be food in your tummy before you take them. Another class of drugs is NSAIDs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They help to treat pain and inflammation. Examples are aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, diclofenac. They can be damaging to the stomach if there is no food in there, because they irritate stomach lining and they can disrupt the protective mucus layer in the stomach. Alright, that's why you should take them with food or milk, because it helps to reduce stomach irritation. Okay, another class is antibiotics. Not all antibiotics, mind you, but there are some that you should not take on empty stomach. And examples are amoxicillin, clavulanic acid, like your augmentin, cefpodoxime, nitrofurantoin, rifabutin, and the rest of them. They can cause nausea, they can cause stomach pain, you see, so you should take them with food. And nitrofurantoin especially is 40% more absorbed in your body when you take it with food. Alright, another class is the sulfonylureas. That is it's a class of anti-diabetics. It causes reduced blood sugar, like it lowers your blood sugar very fast. Example are the glimepiride, gliclazide, and it is better you take them with food because they can drop your blood glucose too low, and this can lead to hypoglycemia, leading to coma. Then insulin itself, like I explained for the oral antidiabetics, the sulfonylureas, insulin applies subcutaneously, so it's even more absorbed than when you take oral medications. So you should not take insulin fasting. You should have eaten something before you take your insulin. It is very dangerous to take it on empty stomach. Another is antacids. Antacids help to relieve symptoms of acid reflux like heartburn. They neutralize acid in your stomach. Alright, you are most likely to experience acid reflux after eating, so taking antacids with food can help prevent or reduce these symptoms. They typically work for about 20 to 60 minutes when taken on empty stomach, but if taken 1 hour after a meal, they may work for up to 2 hours, because that's food that you have eaten will cause more acid to be released to digest the food, of course, and then antacids can work on that food while neutralizing the excess of stomach acid. I hope you understand that. But if there is no food in the tummy, it's just the surface acid that is there that will neutralize. You understand me? Another is chloroquine. It's an antiprotozoal medication. It is no longer indicated for treatment of malaria, but some people still use it, as per Nigerians now. It causes stomach-related side effects like nausea, diarrhea, stomach cramps, and all of that. It directly irritates the stomach, but when you take it with food or with milk, it will lower this effect. Now, what does it even mean to take medications with food? If you are told that take your medication with food, you might wonder, what kind of food? Is a glass of milk enough, or do I have to eat a full meal? How close should you eat to your dose? Well, there are many factors that influence this, but in studies on the effect of food on medication, the FDA recommends that you should use medications within 30 minutes after a full meal. So it doesn't have to be while you are eating exactly, but within 30 minutes after you have eaten. That means you're still taking it with food. Basically, taking your medication with food helps to cushion the stomach effects and for better absorption. Alright? But you know that there are certain foods that you should not take with certain medications, right? I've talked about that extensively on my episode on drug-food interaction, so you can refer back to that. So if we say take your medication with food, that does not mean any food. You still have to be very careful. You can go ahead to ask that, okay, what kind of food can I take with this medication? It's not a wrong question. It's actually the right question. All right. Now, going on to medications you should take on empty stomach, that is without food. Just like there are reasons why you should take medications with food, there are also reasons why you should take medications on empty stomach or without food. And number one is slowed absorption. That is, in some cases, the food will actually delay the time it will take for the medication to be absorbed by your body. And so the medication takes longer to work. So it's better to take such medications without food. Also, there's lower absorption. All right, there's a difference between slowed absorption and lower absorption. I'm sure you know this. So slowed absorption takes longer time. Lower absorption is the amount of medication that gets into your body is so low that the medication may not even work at all, because the food may actually interact with the medication and reduce the amount available for your body to use. Another one is faster or slower breakdown. Some juices like grapefruit juice can cause certain medications to get broken down faster in your body, and if this happens, the medication might not work well. You see, so these are reasons why you should take your medication on empty stomach. And need I tell you that all these are product of research over time, over years. So they are not just arbitrary. People did not just come about them or just formulated them. They have been tested over time. All right, and you may be interested to know what it means to take a medication on an empty stomach. You see, taking a medication on an empty stomach typically means you do so either 1 hour before or 2 hours after meal. Let me repeat that. 1 hour before or 2 hours after meal. Okay. Although this is a general rule for most medications, some medications have more specific instructions. So it is also the duty of a healthcare professional to let you know this. But then, like I said, you can ask. After a meal, it normally takes around 1 hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours for the stomach to empty. That is why 2 hours after a meal is just like taking your food on empty stomach. But also, the type of meal you eat plays a role in how fast it moves through the stomach. For example, a high-fat meal can slow down the time it takes for your stomach to empty. Okay? Now, example of medications to take on empty stomach. Number 1 is thyroid medications. These are medications to treat hypothyroidism, that is, lack of that thyroid hormones in your body. Example is levothyroxine. You should take this on an empty stomach because the absorption is affected by food. Okay? For example, walnuts, which is an high fiber food, and soybean flour may affect levothyroxine absorption. And common breakfast drinks like grapefruit juice, coffee, and milk also affect its absorption. So, levothyroxine should be taken 30 to 60 minutes before breakfast. This includes your coffee, your tea, your milk, and your juice. And take it at least 4 hours before or after other medications. You know why, right? To prevent drug-drug interactions. Okay. Number 2, another class of medications to take on empty stomach are the biphosphonates. These are used to treat osteoporosis, alright? They may not be very common, but for people who use these kinds of medication like alendronate, resitronate, you should take them on empty stomach. Just for those reasons I've listed, interactions with food. Another class is sucralfate. It's used to treat ulcers. Okay? It forms protective coating over the ulcer. So it is better it is taken on empty stomach because the food will prevent this contact with the stomach lining. So you take at least 1 hour before or 2 hours after meal. Okay. Another drug is sildenafil. It is used for erectile dysfunction. Okay. It can be taken with or without food, but taking it after a high fat meal can make it take longer to work. So it is better to take it without food so that it works faster, right? And most people that use this medication actually want it to work fast. So it's better to just take it without food. Captopril is another medication used to treat high blood pressure. It's in a class of angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, the ACEIs, and it is also used to treat heart failure. Also for kidney problems, especially in people with type 1 diabetes. So, taking captopril with food can lower its absorption and cause it not to work well. So better to take it 1 hour before or 2 hours after meals. Another medication is betanecol, used to treat urinary retention, also to be taken on empty stomach for the same reason. Ampicillin should be taken on empty stomach. Alright? Because of course food interacts with it and prevent its absorption. Another medication that can be affected by food in the stomach is zafirlukast. It is a monoclonal antibody. While it may not be very common, it is used in some people to treat or prevent asthma in adults and children ages 5 years and older. Okay, and it was during clinical trial that it was found that food lowered the amount of zafirlukast absorbed in the body by a whole 40%. So it is better to take this without food, that is at least 1 hour before or 2 hours after meal. And the last class of drug I'll be talking about, which you should take without food, are the proton pump inhibitors. These are anti-ulcer medications like omeprazole, like rabeprazole, like esomeprazole. They are also used to treat gastroesophageal reflux disease, and they work by blocking final step of acid secretion in your stomach. Since food triggers your stomach to produce acid, and you want to block this acid secretion, it's better to take them without food. You see, that's why we tell you take it 30 minutes before food. You understand? So that it starts working, and now when you eat your food, the acid is not produced as much. Although there's one exception, which is the pantoprazole. It works just as well with or without food, but that is because it has been worked more upon. It's a newer generation of PPI, you understand? But it's not common in this part, so it's still better to take your PPIs 30 to 60 minutes before a meal, while the esomeprazole should be taken at least 1 hour before meals. Okay, so that is it about with or without food. Now you know the example of medications you should take with food and the ones that you should take without food. And now you understand what we mean by take with food and what we mean by take without food, right? Of course, this list is not exhaustive. Researches are still going on about more common medications that we're using. But at least I hope that this information will be very useful for you. And like I said earlier, if in doubt or if you don't understand anything, please ask your healthcare provider. Once the drug is handed over to you, if it keeps the mind of your healthcare provider, your pharmacist, your doctor to tell you if you should take with or without food, please ask. Normally, when a drug is given unto you, it is expected that you take it on empty stomach. But not all drugs, at least now you know. So please do the needful. Ask the question, and I'm sure that you get your answer. Alright? So that brings me to the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening up to this point, and I hope that you got value. Alright? And you know that I will ask you to please like, follow, subscribe to the podcast, and please share. I have seen an increase in the number of followers, and I thank you so much for it. But please, I want more. You know the goal is still to reach 500 subscribers before the end of the first quarter, and we have just 1 month left, guys. Please help me, help my ministry. I trust you. I know you are going to do that. Thank you so much. And please follow us on socials, on IG, on X. I've not been doing much on LinkedIn, but I think I'll do something about that very soon. Okay, thank you very much once again, and I'll see you on Friday, right? So till next time, stay healthy and God bless you. Bye.